Let's dig into the fixture of the weekend. It's third place Arsenal taking on top of the table Manchester City. The game goes 4:30 local time on Sunday afternoon. Arsenal, busy week with good and bad news. They smashed Bournemouth 4-0 away on the weekend with a 4.07 expected goals. They beat Brentford away 1-0 in the Carabao Cup before that. But, and this is where things take a turn for the worse, lost 2-1 at Lens in the Champions League and lost Saka in the process. And it doesn't look good according to Mikel Arteta. We'll see what his status is, both for the short and long term, in due time. No losses in the Premier League for Arsenal. 5-2-0. They only conceded 6 goals, which is second best, and they're the third best expected goals against in the Premier League. They've gone over 2.5 in 4 of 5 and been the first to score in 6 in a row. Martinelli is close to returning. We'll see if this weekend is too soon or whether he can get back into the side. Leandro Trossard has been playing some decent football in his absence. As for Man City, the shock 2-1 loss at Wolves last weekend, 23 shots, 8 on target, but an XG less than 1. Alvarez with the goal. They certainly missed Rodri, didn't they? And they're going to miss him again after he plays in the Champions League at Leipzig midweek. He's going to go back to Spain and just hang out for a while. So no Rodri again this weekend. Vardiel didn't play last weekend as well for Manchester City. Back-to-back losses, both in the Carabao Cup to Newcastle, then Wolves, after 8 wins in a row. At Arsenal, this is a team that's coming into it that's gone over 2.5 of 5 of 7. Both teams have scored in 5 of 7, but somehow City being the first to concede in 4 of 5, which is downright bizarre. They have the best expected goals against in the Premier League at 5.09, and they're still the best team in the division and in terms of expected points as well. Silva and Stones look to be just about back, ready to return for the City side, which makes them that much better of a team in due course. Head-to-head, 3-1. City won at the Emirates last season, 4-1 at home. A home win for City as well, but Arsenal won the Community Shield in penalties after they played to a 1-1 result after 90 minutes. Arsenal no clean sheet in 9 against City. Both teams to score has played in 4 of 5. A big spot for Arsenal, Andrew. They can right the wrongs of last season, but this Saka injury looming, it really kind of dampens the expectation a little bit coming into this game. We're not sure how City fared in the Champions League midweek, but City are the favorite to go on and win this game. What do you make of the markets here? Depending on who you back, I mean, there's some pretty good numbers that are available on Pinnacle. Which one are you backing, if any?
Well, I think this is a game I've got to go for both teams to score an over 2.5 goals because that's available at plus 122 at the moment. I mean, that has been the outcome in 17 of Arsenal's 23 home league games since the start of last season. So, it's occurred in 75% of their matches, which obviously doesn't mean it's going to happen here automatically, but that's a pretty good chance to get a plus 122 price. I mean, if you look at the XG data, obviously that suggests Man City should win. If you look at last season, this season, everything says that Manchester City is a value play at plus 149 to win. But of course, the data doesn't know about the absences, and that's the big thing here. I mean, mentioned briefly earlier the importance of Rodri. I mean, there's a metric on FB Ref which is plus or minus. It looks at how a team's expected goals and actual goals are when a player plays and then when they're not playing, and what the difference is between the two. And obviously football's too complex. You can't sort of assign everything to a player. But the fact remains that in terms of this plus or minus, a team being better when a person plays or doesn't, Rodri has been in the top 10 players in the Premier League for 4 of the last 5 seasons for this. And even Kevin De Bruyne, as great as he is not been in the top 10 as often as Rodri. Like, Manchester City are just a markedly better team when he plays, and they're an incredibly good team anyway. So his absence undoubtedly gives Arsenal more of a chance than they would normally have had. But then, as you say, it's looking like, Saka's going to be missing for them. So it makes the game itself, the 1x2, very difficult to call. So I'm just going to stick with sort of goals. Both teams score over 2.5 at plus 122, because I think both teams will score, and then it only takes one more, and you're in business. So I still favour City, but I think that's the way to go.
Arsenal have been very good at home, we should add, in recent vintage. The Saka one, for me, it's a tough one. And City are too good to continue to lose. By the way, Jake likes 1 unit over 2.5 goals at minus 116. I'm going to actually stay away from the total here and make a play. And it's going to be the good old just back the better team in this one. And City on the handicap is still coming in at a plus number. At plus 114, City at minus 0.25. If it ends in a draw, it's a half loss. So a little bit of insurance for your bet. I'm going to make a full unit play on this. I think that the way to cover off Rodri's absence is if Stones comes back, plays a few minutes against Leipzig, and we'll see if he does that Wednesday. And he's that player that's so adaptable, can step up from the back four and just kind of sit there as kind of that holding midfielder, that shield. But more important than the shield, just to start the build. Like, his distribution is what makes him so good when he steps up and plays in that kind of role. So I think the tactics, Pep might make a little bit of a shift heading into this one, which might ask some different questions of Arsenal. I think the 4 goals away at Bournemouth, I think it flattered Arsenal, to be honest with you. 2 of the goals were pens in that game, and they're relatively soft for me. They were pens, certainly, but just soft. And I just think that City are the better side. And when pushes come to shove in the Premier League, City have got the better of Arsenal. It's this protege versus master. Well, Pep is still the master here. And at plus 114 with the little insurance baked in, I like the City play at minus 0.25 at plus 114. Just, if we all think that City are going to go on and win the title, they certainly don't lose a game like this, do they? I just can't envision a case where they go on and lose this game, Andrew. So that's kind of part of what's, dictating my play in this one.
No, absolutely. I mean, lengthy streaks of form or whatever have to end eventually. But I think Manchester City have won the last 15 league meetings, something like that. So obviously they're not going. Eventually there'll come a time where they don't. But they've just been so dominant against Arsenal, even better versions of Arsenal, that you have to go with them. And I meant to say earlier when we were talking about last week, and I forgot. Yeah, Arsenal did score 4 goals, but as you say, 2 of them were penalties. I had a look. Only 7 teams in the Premier League got more than 2 away penalties in the whole of last season, and Arsenal got 2 in one game. And nobody got more than 4 in the whole season away from home, and Arsenal got 2 in one game. So, obviously that did flatter them a bit. So, I think we all think City probably, but I'm going to take the goals.